My name's Jerry McElhenney. I farm with my brother, older brother. We in what they call the Pine Barren Creek watershed. Our family's been on this land. This year will be 100 years. We're still at it, trying anyway.
My name is Mickey Diamond. I live in Santa Rosa County, Florida. I'm a local farmer. We row crop, do cotton and peanuts. I'm 54 years old. I farmed all my life, so I've been farming over 35 years.
I'm a Copeland Griswold and still farming about 400 acres of pea patch. I've cut back because of health conditions over the years. And been doing it, I think this is 71 years of having some type of operation and farm. I tell everybody I got my degree from the University of Hard Knocks. It's been difficult. I've had tornadoes, floods, drought.
You know, agriculture is not the friendliest business to be in. You can have a good year this year, and you can have a weather-related disaster next year. You just don't know what you're going to be dealt until that year's over with.
Usually once, maybe twice during the spring, we're gonna have what's, a monsoon rain. I mean, it's gonna be 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. And we even had as much as 10 or 12 at one time.
We do get a lot of annual rainfall. On average, we get around 64 to 65 inches a year. Some of the highest annual rainfalls in the entire continental United States.
So whenever there's a lot of rain and you do like row crops and you clear the land, there's a lot of movement from the water, which can impact the land around it.
We've definitely seen changes. When I was a kid growing up, we had a lot of problems with water and wind erosion. That's always been an issue for us is ever since, the early settlers moved here and started clearing and developing this land.
Dust storms, I mean, it'd get March and April, that land would be open and dust would fly. Spring rains would come and you'd see the dirt flowing off. Wasn't nothing there to hold the soil.
Bare soil is very vulnerable. When you have thousands of acres of flat ground and you're putting a significant amount of rainfall on top of that and the soils are sandy, they tend to move and shift with that rain.
We got several fields that winds up in the river. Right here, I think we're more or less connected to the Laney River, but up the road is Moore's Creek. But talking about Moore's Creek, I watched that thing die, and I wasn't aware of it. Till one day I went across the bridge and it was full of sand. It probably happened over 50, 60 years, but if you fill up a drum with a teaspoon full at a time, you don't notice it. But whenever it builds up, after a while, it overcomes the creek and runs it. I know there's a lot of settlements. It's probably getting in the river that you wouldn't think going from here back to J, the little sand in the ditch, where's it gonna go? It don't evaporate. It's going somewhere.
I've seen some land in places where people, they didn't take care of it, and it went from little small places, washes, to gullies you could put a vehicle in. Because it wasn't taken care of. We make our living off this soil. If we don't take care of it, then how are we supposed to make a living?
Definitely, when erosion and problems happen, it does impact the farmer, the landowner, because their land is being damaged. They're literally losing soil. But at the same time, it's not just impacting the farmer or the landowner. It's also affecting everybody downstream.
A lot of people don't think about it, but when it comes to rain, that water leaves here, it's going to the creek, then it's going to the river. It's going to eventually end up in Escambia Bay or Perdita Bay. Whatever's in that soil, your fertilizer, everything, it's leaving with it. Water's a valuable resource, and if you ain't got clean water, then you're in trouble.
Water is what drives our life here. I mean, there's not a person on this planet that doesn't need fresh water on a daily basis. It's important for just our everyday life. It's important for our quality of life. It's important for recreational opportunities, and it's important for our economy.
Of course, agricultural production does include a lot of fertilizer applications, chemical applications for protecting the crop. Excess fertilizer can lead to some of the nitrates and the blooms off the coast.
Once the runoff and all the farming and the nitrates and all that end up in our bay, there's really no natural way to clean it.
You have algae blooms and things like that are happening in the more developed areas where people live down near the coastline. So, you know, if we lose soil here and it goes into a river and takes nutrients with it, the entire system from this point to all the way to the Gulf of Mexico is compromised, and compounding over years and years and years, it can create problems that are either very expensive, if not almost impossible to correct. It's very important for everybody that we do the best job we can to keep that from happening. We've come together with a project to reduce nutrient levels in the Escambia River watersheds.
We've gathered a good 39 farmers within the geographical area, and they've signed up to kind of help do some conservation practices within their farmland to help reduce the nutrient runoff within Escambia River and the Pensacola watershed. The overall goal is to reduce the nutrient runoff on the Escambia River, but we chose to focus our efforts and limited the funding within two 20,000-acre sub-watersheds, which are Pine Barren, Sandy Hollow, and Moores Creek. These two sub-watersheds were selected because of the high concentration of farmland within the designated area.
What we're asking them to do is to implement cover crops and some type of conservation tillage so that they can manage soil erosion and manage nutrients that are on the ground, and increase their level of soil sampling so that they know exactly what is in the soil, and then follow a nutrient management plan that we help develop so that they're putting out just exactly what they need and only when they need it. And they're agreeing to implement these type conservation practices on their farm over the next 5 years, all while we take continue to take water samples and collect data in hopes that at the end of the 5-year period, we have some tangible data showing that we were able to reduce those levels of nutrients.
But all farmers, I believe, they're doing their best to make sure that what we do doesn't contaminate the water.
I've got to leave my land in better shape than I found it for the next generation. I got to take care of it the best I can, because that land's going to treat me better and better every year.
I'm not ever going to make any more contributions in my lifetime. I've done made it to my family. And so they're the ones going to have to carry it on. And I think they will. I believe they will.
We want to make sure our grandkids and their kids behind us have a good place to live. I hope when I'm dead and gone, the people, will say, that he took care of the land. That'd be a good thing to be remembered by.